And this comes to us from Mike, and he says, "It's me again. I caught the latest clip and had to submit my own. In my early 20s, around 2002, I dated a chick who lived over a state away. It's a bad idea, but
Big
it's
mistake. Long distance relationships do not work. She will trip and fall on the closest penis.
To the video that I just showed, there is no link because it was copied and sent to me. So if you guys want a copy of it, though, email redonkulousblake@gmail.com and I will happily send one to you.
Do it.
All right. I was smitten. Huh.
Well, when you're in your 20s, that happens really easy.
It does, yeah. It's the puppy lust phase.
Well, hang on. There's another thing women don't seem to understand. If they actually get a dude who's smitten it in their young 20s and the dude is in his 20s and they fumble that, they're probably not going to come across that again.
Yeah.
That's why you got to get these dudes early while they're stupid.
Yeah, because the more cock they get run through them, the less that means every single time, and the more us men pick up on it. Men pick up on your body count the same way women pick up on desperation.
Oh, yeah.
It's something in the eyes.
No, they could smell it. You walk in the room like, oh, he smells desperate.
And then you walk into a chick's barracks, smells like Quim.
No, I've actually had women tell me that.
Yeah.
In the bar, like,
He
I can
smells
smell
desperate.
desperation on those guys. Oh, wow.
You're like, bees and dogs can smell fear.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's something to be said about it. It's a mystery of human chemistry. I can't explain it. All we can do is observe it. All right. So this is where it gets bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was smitten and footed over $3,000 in bills, sneaking her phone cards and cell phones so we could get around her cock-blocking dad.
Oh, my God.
Bad.
Well, first of all,
right off the bat,
you can't really blame the father for trying to keep that from happening.
Early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a dude in his early 20s. He knows how we think. He knows how we act.
Yeah.
Wants to protect his little girl from that. But the thing is, when you overprotect girls from that, they tend to rebel and become exactly what you're trying to keep them from becoming.
Catholic school girls?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have no "and then she unzipped her jumper" stories, is what it is. The relationship ended when I realized she just wasn't mature enough or ready to actually settle down. It wasn't a terrible breakup, but by that point I knew it probably wasn't going to wind up in happily ever after. She was much younger and said the L word before I considered her an option. So if you were in your early 20s and she was much younger, what was she, 17, 18 maybe? How much younger are we talking about here, Mike?
If it's illegal young, don't tell us.
Yeah, if it's illegal young, I don't want to know. Fast forward a dozen or so years. In my early 30s, having been fully red-pilled by then, I get a voicemail on a very old Magic Jack that was all but forgotten. It was her calling me collect.
Oh, here we go.
From jail. Probably beating her boyfriend to death with a radial dial telephone. Now it was a voicemail, so no option to call her back to actually see what was going on. Don't remember if I had the caller ID, but it was probably a payphone anyway. So my curiosity gets the best of me, and I look her up on Facebook. She's looking like hell. 2 kids and a messed up life. What was I saying about women becoming the exact opposite of what their fathers are trying to maintain when they're too controlling?
Correct.
Oops. There's a post that she was promoted to team/shift lead of her Mary Maid style employer after only 7 years. Yeah, 2 kids, a dead-end job, and looking like the wind gave up on her sales 10 years ago. I think I posted something like, sorry I didn't pick up your collect call, but I dodged a bullet way back when, and again when you called.
Nice.
A bit vindictive, but who has the gall to call an old flame instead of family when you're down and out like that?
Desperate.
A little bit.
Yeah, desperate women do that.
Very much desperate. And you were mentioning early on, when you are a woman in your early 20s and you got a dude who is willing to fork out that kind of money just to keep seeing you in spite of a controlling father figure, how often do you think you're going to get that kind of treatment in your life?
Yeah, it's not gonna work out for you.
Well, it turns out some of the smart ones may actually be figuring this out. Let's take a listen.
okay, realistically, if I want kids by about 28, but I want to be married for probably 2 years before having kids, I need to have a husband and be married by 26. And then I'm going to be engaged for probably about a year, to plan the wedding and do all that stuff. So I need to be a fiance. I need to be engaged by 25. But then, usually before you get engaged, you're probably dating the person for about 2 years. I feel like that's a good amount of dating someone.
Fair.
That means that I'm going to have to basically meet this person by 23?
Yeah.
22?
Guess how old she is.
Wait a second. I'm very much single. So how is this going to work? Because my plans are getting a little, I actually have to meet someone tomorrow to have this be my life. What the fuck?
Okay, what she's doing here is what we call in the military backwards planning.
Yeah.
Now, women have a whole other concept of backwards planning. They kind of get drunk and then they kind of back up onto your cock.
A little bit.
It's not good planning for the future. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just being honest, especially if she's a wide load and she's backing up here. It's not a good look, man.
No.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look at all. But hey, at least she's got some understanding.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? I can't live like I have all the time in the world, can I?
But here's the thing. She's a good-looking woman.
She is.
I guarantee you she had one or two boyfriends in high school that said the L word.
Yeah.
And she probably fumbled them.
And with lips like that, she could start a leaf blower.
Yeah.
All right.
And listen, women don't seem to understand. If they get a man who used the L word on them, that doesn't happen that often for you. And if you pass it up, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit.
And the thing is, I see dudes making similar mistakes with the good ones in their early 20s all the time.
Yeah.
Like these women, they have not been brainwashed by higher education and all that shit yet. These are the ones who will bring you food at work. They'll bring you coffee. They just call up to check on you, all that other stuff. And you think, well, this is just how it is. And you find out in very short order after you break up with a woman like that, no, it's not.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
I've seen it happen. I've done it myself. It is what it is. And it's very, very rare that you find another woman who's willing to do all that shit for you in your 30s.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me,
that's why they tend to go younger.
Because I was raised by a single mother. I chose poorly. And that's why we have a show now. And
at least you don't look like
61 lives saved on the board.
At least you don't look like Donovan at the end of Last Crusade. That would suck.
That would be bad.
I'd love to see a pop deep fake for that moment in Last Crusade. Chose poorly.
I did.
Wop wop.
I ignored a whole parade of Chinese red flags.
We've all done it. We've all done it. There's a lot of dudes out there, they wound up getting ran through the ringer, and then they look back and they're like, you know what, that one chick that I just kind of cast off, she probably was actually a good woman, and I kind of fucked that. Yeah, you know what? What's done is done.
That's right.
It's a good thing to look back and assess your actions. It's not a good thing to get hung up on them and keep living in the past. That is a bad male habit to get into.
That's called driving forward in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, well, don't do that.
You're going to wind up smashing up your life even more.
This is bad, right?
Yeah.
This is bad. Private tossed in another 25 over on the YouTubes. Thank you very much. Leave us a comment. I'd like to know what's going on in your thinking. Me, you're just dropping stuff with no comment. We appreciate you.
You're Christopher Walken, no comment.
No comment in the chat. I want to know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, are you just sitting there with a gold watch up your ass,
doing this and
that? Doing this and that? You're playing Switch with the thumbs. It smells like your mom. No, that one's your ex. That one's your mom. Okay. Do you have any hand sanitizer? My kingdom for some Purell.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Caser box.